In the beginning of chapter 7, it speaks of a person's personality or introvert being an introvert and how that can benefit lexicon, but at the same time it could also be negative. So it's kind of confusing because you're saying that the personality in a way might contribute to learning or may not. Then in 7.2, they give us the example of two people trying to learn French. And Kaplan has a deep understanding or a deep connection to French because her dad passed away and chooses to learn and also immerse in the language later in life, and also has a self-identification of being French as she spends 2 years fully immersed, while Watson is in school, has some stress and anxiety, but he doesn't learn till the age of 19 and mostly translation, which is reading and writing, and not so much speaking. Then later in life tries to learn how to speak, but unfortunately the 3 hours a day for 3 months uh, doesn't result in what he really wants, and so he pretty much quits. So then it asks, is it a gift? Is it a talent? Is it something like a child that is just a natural athlete, has hand-eye coordination? Is that what language is, where the brain just makes those connections and with little to no training can pick up a language? Is it a knack? Is it a trick? Or is it something else? And so a test is developed, and that test is the Modern Language Aptitude Test. However, like most tests, um, the test is critiqued because it doesn't take everything into account. There are four different things that you need, four components that you need to test whether language is going to be good or not. And in this particular test, only three.
7.5, we are looking at whether L2 aptitude is different from intelligence and first language ability. In one study, they found that people with the highest MLAT score had significantly higher intelligence scores. In another study done, they found that first language ability and grammatical sensitivity component of foreign language aptitude are related, but that first language ability and overall aptitude are distinct factors. In conclusion, first language ability and foreign language aptitude partially overlap because they share substrates. In 7.6, we are talking about a lack of aptitude or general language related difficulties. Just like it is difficult to learn literacy in the L1, it may be just as difficult to learn literacy in the L2. When beginning to read, 15 to 20% of kids will experience difficulty in literacy in their L1. This hypothesis is looking at phonological awareness, phonemic awareness, and phonologic decoding in their L1 and L2. In conclusion, language aptitude is related to the development of literacy in the early school years. In 7.7, we are looking at memory capacity as a privileged component of L2 aptitude. Memory is thought to predict how well people will learn vocabulary, comprehension, recast, and grammar. Differential memory capacities are thought to play a central part in success when learning a foreign language. Short-term memory can predict individuals' differences in their ability to learn new vocabulary in a foreign language. In 7.8, we are looking at the contributions of memory to aptitude complexified. Vocabulary learning is strongest in the beginning of L2, but weakens as proficiency in L2 increases. By having a larger mental lexicon, it helps boost vocabulary learning further. Higher proficiency learners have greater gains in grammatical areas, while lower have better phonological memory. In conclusion, we can see that just having a good memory boosts vocabulary learning and has an advantage in learning of grammatical phenomena later in the.
In 7.9, Ortega discusses the fundamental difference hypothesis. This hypothesis talks about how success is dependent on how good analytic capacity and memory is. 7.10 talks about whether learners learn better in implicit environments versus explicit environments. Implicit environments include learning while doing something else. Explicit is structured learning under a set of rules and guidelines. 7.11 talks about educational psychologist Richard Snow and his aptitude complex hypothesis. This hypothesis includes three processes that correlate to language learning and explain why some people are better at second language acquisition than others. 7.12 discusses L2 profiling and whether we can pinpoint a person's strengths in second language acquisition. This was based on a study by Skehan and Robinson, and it's still difficult to investigate.